Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. Yes. Welcome to the Having It All podcast. My name is Matthew Bivens, and it is an honor to have you here with me today, enjoying this episode as we talk about what it looks like to live an abundant, loving life, because that's what having it all means in the context of this show, right? ALL stands for abundant, loving life. So we are all here playing for whatever it looks like for us as individuals to be abundant, to be loving, to experience love in all areas of our life, and our faith, with our family, our friends, our fitness, our finance, our fun, and any other area of life that doesn't fit within the 6 F's. We're playing to have it all. And I'm just super excited and inspired that you continue to show up in this conversation week after week. Because the more of us that are having this conversation, the more that we are going out there and experiencing abundance and being love, the more that the world vibrates with who we are being collectively. And that is a beautiful thing. That's a powerful thing. So if this is your first time joining us, welcome. Welcome. You're about to get into some real great stuff. And if it's not your first time, welcome back. In today's conversation, we're talking about being stuck. I know that you can relate with feeling and being stuck in your life. Maybe you're stuck right now. Maybe you just got unstuck and you think you might get back into that stuck place. Or maybe it happened way in the past and you just want to be able to know what to do, know how to operate when you feel stuck. That's what I'm talking about today. I've got some really cool context to give you around feeling stuck and some very simple to-dos that can help you get unstuck. And I'm also going to share with you an area of my life where I've been stuck recently, very recently, and how I've gotten through that. So that's going to be a little later on. We're going to kick things off with some magic. Magic is how we start off every single episode because I want you to recognize and realize how powerful you are. You are creating your life. Everything that's happening in your life right now, you are co-creating it. So on some level, you are responsible for the life that you're experiencing. The things that show up that are great and the things that show up that aren't so great. And it's so important that you recognize that because you cannot be empowered to go and shift something in your life to create a different experience, to create a different life, if you don't truly believe that you are the creator in the first place. So magic is this beautiful time when we get to stop and reflect on our creations. Magic is when we influence self, others, and life in an empowering way. And you're doing it all the time. All the time. Every single day you're doing it. But if you're like most of us, you're missing it. You're not tuning into it. You aren't fully aware of it. And so that's why we talk about this at the beginning of the episode, because I want to help create that awareness within you so that then you can go out in life recognizing how much of a badass you are, go and create some magic because, hey, you know what? You're doing it. You're doing it. So my magic is around, it happened on Thursday. It's Saturday right now, so it's 2 days ago. I took my game day. So if you've been tuning into this podcast for I don't know, if you've been here for more than 6 months, you've definitely heard me talk about game days. And a game day is a fitness assessment that I take every 90 days. And it's so much more than a fitness assessment, but it measures my body in 4 areas. The body composition, it measures my strength, measures my cardio and endurance, and my flexibility. And I get scored in each one of those areas, and then I get an overall final game day score. And I do that every 90 days to see where I'm at, just so I can get a check-in as to where I'm at and how I've been showing up for the past 90 days. Because what the game day reveals is who you have been being and how you've been living for the past 90 days. So I step into this game day arena quarterly to get some feedback, because feedback is so important when you're playing the game of greatness. When you're playing for big things in your life, you want feedback to help make sure that you're on path, to make sure that you are in alignment with who you say you want to be. Without feedback, you don't know. right? If you're in the woods and you're lost and you have no compass, you don't know how to read the stars, you don't know anything, you don't have a map, guess what? You don't have any feedback, you will probably stay lost. Once you get a tool like a compass, now I can get feedback. I know if I'm supposed to be going north, I'm heading a little bit east. I need to change my direction. That's what the game day does. So I took mine on Thursday, and boy, was it humbling. I got served up a slice of humble pie on Thursday, and it's great. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I'm grateful for it, but it's not always fun to experience. And so I stepped into my game day, and I play at a pro level. There's 5 different levels to the game day. Each level gets increasingly more challenging with the exercises and the criteria with which you get scored on. So I play at the pro level, which is the 4th out of 5 levels. There's beginner, intermediate, advanced, pro, and all-star. So my previous score was a pro 79. That's out of 100 points. Pro 79 is my highest score yet. And on Thursday, I scored a pro 74. So I dropped 5 points. That's a pretty significant drop when you're at those higher levels. So my body was just giving me all sorts of feedback all over the place. And it really started weeks before. I was counting myself out. I was giving myself reasons to not show up as powerfully. I was giving myself all sorts of excuses. And it just sort of trickled into Thursday morning when my game day hit. So the whole experience to me was, like I said, very humbling from the very beginning. I lost points in each one of those 4 quarters. And I felt like I felt every single rep. Every single thing that I was doing, I felt it in my core. And it wasn't a great feeling because it felt like it took so much out of me. I was wiped. Halfway through my game day, I could have laid down and just passed out. I was wiped. So that sort of experience is not what you want to have, right? You want to feel strong. You want to feel energized. You want to feel powerful. But I was really tapping into force, right, as opposed to power. Force is that strength, but then there's resistance there. That's what creates that force. Power is that strength plus flow. And I didn't have a lot of flow on Thursday. So I felt it, and it was tough. But you know what? I still influence myself in a number of key ways that I can walk away feeling inspired by. First of all, I influence myself to show up because I almost just decided to pause and postpone my game day until after my trip. And that wouldn't have been a powerful move, not at all. So I'm inspired that I influence myself to show up and take the game day on the due date as opposed to delaying it. I'm inspired that I influence myself to really do an awesome job on my run. I set a goal for myself and actually beat it, and that's pretty amazing. So I'm really, really excited about, just inspired by how I showed up in that area. And then overall, looking at the feedback as simply feedback and not taking it personally. It's so easy when we don't perform in anything in our lives to our expectations, when we don't meet our expectations. It's so easy to just get into that self-critical mode, to just judge yourself, to beat yourself up, to drag yourself down, drag yourself through the mud. It's so easy to do that. And it's tough to just look at it objectively. And I'm definitely inspired that throughout all the feedback, I simply looked at it objectively because honestly, I wasn't surprised because I knew how I'd been showing up the past 90 days. So it's still very magical to just be in that space of being like, okay, cool. That's the feedback. All right. I know what I need to do and I know who I need to be over the next 3 months in order to shift that score. And so I'm super committed to it. I'm super committed to shifting up those areas where I recognize I've been playing fearful and playing small. So that's my magic. A little bit of long-winded magic, but there's a little context I wanted to drop on you around the game day. And I want you to just reflect on your magic. Like, where have you showed up for yourself despite being afraid or despite not wanting to? Where have you showed up for other people in powerful ways? Where have you loved on other people? Where have you given to other people without even thinking about getting anything in return? And where has life just dropped something awesome in your lap that you almost want to say, wow, this was random, or wow, what a coincidence, or wow, I'm so lucky. But you recognize that there's no luck involved. There's no such thing as luck, but there is magic. Take a moment and think about that for yourself, because I really want you to be able to connect with this truth that you are a powerful, powerful creator. And you're creating an amazing experience and you're creating amazing life each and every day. These moments are happening each and every day. So that's magic. Let's flow on to some listener love, which is also magic. I mean, every time I connect with you, it's a beautiful thing. I love our conversations. I love the outreach, and it's just, I dig it. That's what this is about. This is a community. This isn't just me sitting up here behind the mic, just speaking some stuff and you listening. Like, this is a community because we're all going through our stuff. We're all feeling stuck at sometimes. We're all feeling scared. We're all feeling, smaller than we actually are, weaker than we actually are, right? And so it's important to get into conversations to recognize that, hey, you know what? We can get beyond our emotions. We can get beyond those beliefs that are keeping us in that small, limited space. We can transcend those things. And if one person can do it, anybody can do it. And I truly, truly believe that. So whenever we connect, there's just that collective power towards abundance, towards love, towards having it all, towards leveling up. And I get so filled up by it. So this week, I'm really appreciative to Anthony, who reached out to me on Instagram. Anthony, I appreciate you, man. I really do. I appreciate your outreach and your sharing, because it takes guts to share like you did. It takes boldness to just share and open up. And you know what? I can totally relate to those crazy emotions that you feel in relationships. I can totally relate. I've been there. It's not the most fun sometimes. Other times it can be kind of fun going on that roller coaster. But I definitely know that feeling of just going up and down, and not feeling really rock solid in yourself. And so for me, I think it's all about creating that stability within yourself before you go and step into those relationship agreements, before you go seeking out that companionship, seeking out that connection. You want to be so rock solid within yourself that, like, you're a boulder standing on the shores of the beach, and the waves of relationships and the waves of people and all that stuff can just crash on you, but you are solid. You are grounded. You are strong. You're confident in who you are. That's what I'm playing for, and that's what I have seen be very effective when stepping into relationships, being that strong foundation. So, Anthony, once again, I appreciate you reaching out to me. I appreciate you connecting and sharing. And if anybody wants to be like Anthony and jump into a conversation with me, please hit me up on Instagram, Matthew_Bivens. That's a great place to connect. I love it. You can also hit me up on my email, mattcbivens@gmail.com. That's a little more old school these days on email. And I also dig video messages. I've gotten a couple video messages from you all, and that's super cool to be able to put a face and a voice to the name, or even a voice note. You can hit me up with a voice note. I think you can do that on Instagram. I've been sending voice notes back as responses, and that's pretty fun. So however you want to get in touch, do it. We'll get into conversation. We'll get into that fellowship, that connection, and we'll just keep holding that space for one another to just level up, to be abundant, to be love, and to just really, truly believe that we have it all, because we do. All right, let's get into today's topic about feeling stuck. Because you know what? We all know what it's like to feel stuck. You might be feeling stuck right now. You might be in a stuck place in your life, in your emotions, and just how you're feeling. And maybe you're allowing yourself to be distracted by the holidays. It's so easy to do that. Maybe you're just allowing yourself to be caught up in all the things that go on in the holidays, travel and people coming over and gift giving and just all the stuff. But you know that as soon as January 1 rolls around, that feeling of stuckness is just going to return. You're going to be right back in that stuck place. And so you're like, yeah, I know stuckness. I'm there. I've been there, and I really, really want some ways to navigate myself out of it. So today's conversation was inspired by, it's funny how things kind of happen. Like, I was thinking of this topic of stuckness because I get a lot of questions around it. You ask me a lot of questions around how do I get unstuck, whether it's within a career or a relationship or just a general feeling of stuckness. I mean, I think I get a couple questions like this every month. So I had that noodling in my brain, And then I came across this really cool post by a woman. Her name's Mel Robbins. She's an author. I guess if you've ever done a TED Talk, you're kind of an inspirational speaker. So she's one of those. She's been on CNN, like a contributor to CNN. She's a really smart woman, forward-thinking woman. And I got to know her from this book she wrote called 5-Second Rule, which is a pretty cool book. You can go pick that up. It's all about just moving forward and creativity and execution, and honestly just like listening to your spirit. So Mel Robbins, I saw her on Instagram, and she had this pretty cool explanation or this context around being stuck, which really resonated with me. And that's really that feeling stuck is normal. It's totally normal. All that feeling is, it's simply feedback from your body. It's feedback from your spirit. So feeling stuck, there's nothing wrong with that. We get so quick, like we're so quick to say there's something wrong when I feel stuck. I don't know what to do. I feel stuck. I don't know what to think. I feel stuck. I don't know what next step to take. I feel stuck. And we want to judge that stuckness. We want to judge ourselves. There's something wrong with me feeling stuck. So what I liked about Mel Robbins' message is she's like, no, there's nothing wrong with being stuck. Being stuck is okay. It's normal. You're going to go through those moments, those periods where you feel stuck. Really, all it is just your body giving you that feedback that it's bored. Your spirit is bored. Because in whatever area you're feeling stuck, you've stopped growing in that area. And if you think of it that way, that's a pretty fascinating way to look at feeling stuck. I feel stuck because my body got bored because I stopped growing. It's kind of like when you're hungry. You know, you feel hungry and you know there's something to do to get out of feeling hungry. You eat. You feel thirsty and you know that in order to get over that feeling of thirstiness, you drink. And so when you're feeling stuck and you're recognizing that feeling stuck is simply your body telling you, your spirit telling you that, hey, we've stopped growing and we're bored. So what's the way to get out of that feeling of stuckness? Is to get curious and find a way to grow just a little bit every single day. So if you're feeling stuck right now in whatever area of your life, first of all, recognize that that's okay. It's totally normal. Stop making it something bigger than it is. Stop making it this huge crisis in your life where, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I need to tear everything down because I'm stuck, and everything that I've accomplished until this moment means nothing, because if I was a worthy person, if I was really, a great person or a confident person or a valuable person, then I wouldn't feel stuck. So I must not be any of those things. Stop doing that. Come on. Stop doing that junk. That doesn't serve anybody. Just recognize that being stuck sometimes is normal. Like we're gonna run into that feeling every once in a while. That's the first thing to do. The second thing is to recognize that what is happening is you are stuck because your body and your spirit are bored because you aren't growing. You stopped growing in whatever area. If you can look at it that way, then guess what? It doesn't become a personal thing. It's not about how terrible of a person that you are. It's simply, hey, you pulled your foot off the gas in this area over here. So what do? Put your foot back on the gas. Get back into growing. And I love that because when I think to myself of those times when I felt stuck, guess what's gotten me out of that stuckness? Getting into growth, getting into creation, getting into action. So I have felt stuck several months ago when I really had this inspiration to create something for the Having It All community. I really wanted to create something like a next step beyond the podcast. The podcast has been and is an amazing way to connect with other people who want to have it all and to spread the message and to talk about abundance and love in all areas of life, to talk about breakdown, talk about breakthrough, share my stories, share my examples, be vulnerable, connect with people. The podcast has been a really phenomenal way to do that. And in my spirit, I want to take it to the next level. How can I then now create ways for people to be able to take that next step in their own lives. The talk is great, but how do you walk it? And so I was recognizing that that's exactly what I do with my one-on-one clients. As a balanced lifestyle coach, I help you walk the talk of being abundant and loving in life. I help you to have it all. I help you to figure out what that looks like and means to you, and then I sit there with you and I hold you accountable to walking it, giving you that feedback to keep you back, get you back on path. Sometimes get you that nice swift kick in the ass when you need it, because every once in a while we need it. We need some tough love. We need some reality. We need to see ourselves for who we're being, for how we're showing up. And that's what I do when I work with folks one-on-one. And so I wanted to deliver that to people who maybe didn't want to work with me one-on-one. Maybe you aren't in that space, but maybe you still want to be able to walk your talk. So I started putting this thing together. I started to take a lot of the things that I'm doing in one-on-one and translate that into something that everybody can access, everybody can tap into, everybody can apply in their lives. And so I've been doing that for several months, and I'm gonna tear the sheet off of that and reveal it to the world next year in February. It'll be out there for everybody. But along the way, I felt stuck. I felt stuck several times. I felt stuck in my creativity. I felt stuck in my inspiration. I felt stuck in my action. And each time I felt stuck, I go through this process of beating myself up for it, really criticizing myself because I'm not sticking to the deadlines that I say. I'm not checking my boxes off fast enough. I'm not blah, 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 blah. It's always the nots. I should be doing this and I'm not doing that, right? So I go through that process, and then I get to the space where I realize, you know what? You know how to get unstuck, Matthew. Get into creating. Get into learning. Get into making deposits on yourself. So I totally can relate to this, because I've been in that stuck place as recently as a couple months ago. So if you're in that stuck place right now and you're thinking, okay, great, I recognize that stuckness is simply my body telling me that, hey, I've stopped growing. Hey, we want you to know that we like growth. We love it, actually. And when you stop growing in a certain area, when you stop pushing yourself, when you stop challenging yourself, when you stop exposing yourself to new ideas, to new beliefs, well, we feel it and we crave that, just the same way that if you stop drinking water, we now crave water. And we signal that, hey, I'm thirsty. If you stop eating food, well, guess what? We crave food, and we signal to you that, hey, we're hungry. And if you stop growing, well, we love growth. And so we signal to you, hey, we're feeling stuck. So the solution, like I said earlier, is really to get curious. Just get curious and find some way in your life to just grow a little bit. Just find some way to get those wheels turning in that growth direction. It can look like signing up for a class. Maybe there's a class on some topic that you're interested in. Maybe there's a community center near you. Maybe there's a meetup group around some topic. Sign up for it. Go join it. Maybe there's a book. Just go grab a book on whatever subject matter is interesting to you. Or go and there's so many digital courses out there. So many digital courses. Like, people are putting all their stuff. Go to whatever the mediums are. Udemy. Go there. There's a ton of courses. They're not a sponsor or anything. I'm just pointing you in a direction of a place to find resources to help you get unstuck. Because the way to get unstuck in your life is to get into learning, is to get into growing, to get into creating. So I really want you to think about that for yourself, because you might have to get creative in what it looks like for you to get unstuck. But I'm giving you some things really to chew on right now. Like, if you have been feeling stuck for a long time, and maybe you've been doing a number of different things, ask yourself, okay, if being stuck has to do with stagnated growth, where have I stopped growing? You might have to do some real introspection on that to identify where you have stopped growing. I'll give you some places to start. Have I stopped growing spiritually? Are you feeling spiritually stuck? Are you feeling like you don't have purpose, you don't have meaning, you don't know what direction to go in? If that's the case, you might be feeling spiritually stuck. So there's a direction for you to head. Go and seek out some resources, go and seek out some mentorship, go and seek out some community that can help you be exposed to new ideas and new thinking around spirituality. Help you get unstuck there. Maybe you're feeling mentally stuck. Maybe you've been working on something for so long and you've just been beating your head against it and you're just feeling mentally stuck. Well, I recommend you find a way to come at it from a different angle. Maybe there's a different perspective you can take on the problem that you're stuck on. That can help you to move and just get into that little bit of growth each day. You can think of physically. Are you physically stuck? Where have you physically stopped growing? Where have you physically stopped pushing yourself? Stopped loving on yourself? Stopped making deposits in yourself? If you're feeling physically stuck, there's so many resources out there to help you get unstuck physically. Balance chart is one that I use. So there's so many things that you can be doing in all areas, quite frankly. So, I gave you a couple: spiritually, mentally, physically. You can also look emotionally. Are you feeling emotionally stuck? If you feel like that's you, well, then guess what? You're not alone, because so many people are stuck emotionally, particularly around sex. Sex, intimacy, how to conduct yourself in a relationship. A lot of people stop growing in that area around their teens. They learn how to be in their teens, maybe in their 20s, and then boop, it gets stuck right there. And then that's just how you progress through the rest of your life. So if you're doing your reflection and you think one of those areas of stuckness is around your emotions, around how you relate to yourself and others sexually and intimately, well, then that's an area for you to be looking at. How can I grow here? Where can I grow here? So you can look at spiritual, physical, mental, emotional. You can also look at social if you're feeling stuck in that area. Those are just 5 areas for you to do a little bit of an audit. Just do a self-audit to see if you're feeling stuck, because you really want to be able to pinpoint where you're feeling stuck, because then that's how you're going to be able to figure out what to do, right? What things to get curious about, what to seek out in order to start growing in that area to get you unstuck. So I'm grateful for Mel Robbins and for her just sharing that perspective on stuckness, on feeling stuck, because I can totally relate to it. And the next time that I find myself in that space, I really want to move through the self-judgment phase very quickly. Recognize, hey, I'm stuck. Okay, cool. You know what? It's normal. It's totally normal. I don't need to make this thing mean something more than it does, because we are meaning-making machines. That's what we do as humans. We make meaning out of everything. I don't need to make this mean anything. Let me just get to figuring out how I can grow a little bit in this area. Because no one likes to feel stuck. No one likes to feel stuck. It's just not a comfortable feeling. And now we recognize why. Because that's our spirit saying, hey, you stopped growing. I'm here to grow. Our spirits want to just continually grow, to learn, to grow, to evolve, transform, learn, grow. That's just what we're here to do. So if you're feeling stuck in any area and you want some feedback, or you want me to help hold you accountable, you want some ideas, whatever it is, hit me up. I'm happy to bounce some things off of you to help you get unstuck in whatever area that you feel that you have stopped growing in. You can hit me up, Matthew_Bivens on Instagram, mattcbivens@gmail.com. We can have a conversation about it, because you know what? The more of us that are flowing, moving in that direction of our greatness, then, like I said, the more that the world just vibrates, the more the consciousness of the world is elevated, the more we can just be spreading ourselves, spreading love, making deposits all over the place, showing up for others, serving others. That's a beautiful thing. It's tough to do when you're feeling stuck. It's tough to do when you're feeling stuck, especially if you've been feeling stuck for a while. So let's all do what we can to get ourselves and those around us unstuck, so we can just keep moving forward, especially as we flow into the new year. No one wants to be stuck in 2018 as 2019 starts rolling by. So let's just get ourselves in that powerful mode where we're just moving forward, eyes ahead, just loving life. Yes. All right. My name is Matthew Bivens. Keep being amazing. Keep being awesome. And here's to you having it all. Quick note about the Having It All podcast. I am not a doctor nor a licensed therapist. I'm a guy with a story and a passion for conscious conversation. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are my own. So please consult with your doctor or healthcare provider regarding any questions or issues you have related to your personal, physical, or mental health.